many are treating NVIDIA like it is the only AI idea out there. Well, we have a different perspective.
But more importantly, the companies that we believe are best positioned have a data feedback loop, which means usage of their product generates insight that allows them to continually train the model and get better and better over time. And the more scale they get, the better the model performs and the harder they are to compete with.
Unless you've been meditating in a cave for the last year or so, you've probably heard everyone is talking about AI. NVIDIA's market capitalization recently exceeded the $1 trillion mark. Investors and the general public, everyone seems excited about AI. However, most of this excitement seems misdirected. The excitement's valid, but people are focusing on the wrong companies. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm bullish on NVIDIA. However, most investors seem to be piling into companies making hardware. This is the first layer upon which the true value creation will occur, the software component. In essence, investors are looking over here and investing here, but the real returns are over there, which has nothing at all to do with Tesla. In this video, once again, Ark Invest continue to bang the drum and point out the incredible opportunity that AI represents, a multi-decade trillion-dollar opportunity. And Cathie Wood and the team at Ark Invest attempt to direct investors' attention to where the real returns will be. If you're an investor seeking outsized returns, this is a very important video. And speaking of important videos, I posted one to my Twitter subscribers yesterday. Check out the link in the pinned comment to join. So first, we'll hear the comments from the team at Ark Invest, plus this guy, and then Elon Musk himself chimes in on this very discussion with some new comments around autonomy and Tesla's so-called competition. Shout out to Cruise and Waymo.
NVIDIA, 2014, Tasha Keeney comes into our brainstorm and announces, after we've tasked her with figuring out what's going to go into an autonomous vehicle, she comes back during one of our brainstorms with her aha moment, and that was that the brains or the central nervous system of an autonomous vehicle, remember this is back in 2014, were going to be GPUs. Now we owned NVIDIA, we were exposed to NVIDIA back then as a gaming company. In fact, all it was in the minds of most investors was a PC gaming chip company. And gaming was growing rapidly, so in many growth portfolios. But as soon as Tasha said that, I said, Tasha, nobody knows this. Nobody knows this. This is not in the price of NVIDIA at all. NVIDIA at that time was a $5 stock on the split adjusted basis. And now it is a $400 stock. $5 and somewhere in the $5 to $10 billion now has scaled to $1 trillion. It is now 25 times revenue. So now people do understand that AI is a big idea. And many are treating NVIDIA like it is the only AI idea out there. Well, we have a different perspective.
So fair points from Cathie Wood here. Many investors, most investors right now, seem to be directing many of their resources into NVIDIA because AI is going to be huge. Who makes chips for training AI? Oh, NVIDIA does. Great. Let's buy NVIDIA stock. And this is a reasonable thesis. However, as we're about to hear, this is not the real opportunity. I could be wrong. Any companies producing chips that can train AI, such as Tesla, you did remember that, right? Shout out to Dojo, will probably have extreme growth over the next decade or two. But that's not where the real opportunity is.
It's helpful to add some historical perspective here. When we look at kind of the foundational shifts in computing architecture over time, you can look at the shift from the mainframe to personal computing and the internet that took place in the 90s. And the companies that delivered the hardware that was fundamentally required for that shift, Intel and Cisco, for example, did really well during that time period. But if you look towards and there's cyclical cycles within there, if you look at the mid-90s, for example. But when you look towards the end of the decade, by the end of the decade, 2000, 2001, companies like Microsoft that were delivering the kind of new products and services with Windows and Office, Oracle on the database side, Microsoft actually surpassed Intel in revenue, and now 10, 20 years later is multiples of Intel's revenue. So the hardware was the necessary investment first, but the companies that were delivering the software experiences on top of it were able to generate much more revenue after that initial investment cycle and at higher gross margins as well. And I think you can look at the next change and infer something similar, which is the transition from PCs to mobile computing, where you had companies on a market cap basis like Qualcomm and ARM do very well around the 2010 period, once the iPhone came out as this aha moment that mobile computing and smartphones were going to be a thing. Those companies did great. And then a lot of value accrued to the companies that deployed software and services on top of those mobile phones, be it Google or Apple's services, really accruing a lot of that value that came after that initial surge in hardware.
Has Ark been copying my homework? I made the exact same point a few videos ago. I'm just kidding. Obviously, they're not watching my videos. They've got better shit to do. But it's a very important point to understand. People are focused right now on the hardware because they know AI is a huge opportunity, but they're missing the bigger picture. It's the software atop the hardware where the real value will accrue. You guys see where this is going, right?
And I think, following companies like NVIDIA since 2014, like Cathie mentioned, when people didn't really see the potential for AI, now that we've had the Chat GPT moment, the fastest application to 100 million users ever, everybody is scrambling to invest in the hardware so that they can deliver these products and services down the road. So you can think of every purchase of AI hardware today going to fund some product or service that's delivered through software in the future. Or even in the physical world, if you look at Tesla on the autonomous driving side. And so I think now that everybody is crowding into companies like NVIDIA, the question that we have is, where is the value going to accrue next? And it's not to say that NVIDIA don't do well. I think this market is going to be so big, there will be room for NVIDIA and others to come into the hardware space and do well. But they're only doing well because there's an anticipation of future products and services in the software market that are going to capitalize on what this AI hardware and accelerators are unlocking.
Did somebody say Tesla FSD?
In our base case, we assume that software companies will be able to capture about $14 trillion in revenue by 2030. And if we compare that to enterprise software today, enterprise software generates about $1 trillion in revenue. And so we think we'll go from $1 trillion in revenue for software spend to $14 trillion by 2030. So that's step number one, is try to find use cases that create a lot of value for customers.
For example, a self-driving car, which I probably don't need to explain how useful and valuable that would be to most consumers, considering today, when we're driving as humans, we need to focus on driving and we can't use our brain to do anything else. If we're no longer required to drive a vehicle, we free up our brain and our body to do all sorts of things inside a vehicle. The sky's the limit.
And then when we look at the specific companies to invest in, we really look at three variables. The first is proprietary data.
Oh, damn. That sucks. I thought for a minute there, Tesla might fit this first category, but they don't have any proprietary data. They don't have a fleet of, call it 3.5, close to 4 million vehicles on roads collecting data that no other company on earth has. Do they? Oh, well, guess there's no opportunity there after all.
The second is a distribution advantage.
Oh, damn, this is really disappointing. It's not like Tesla has millions of vehicles on the roads that they can distribute this software to instantly over the air. Man, this is not looking good for Tesla and autonomy.
And the third is leadership at the company who understands the opportunity and is leaning aggressively into AI.
That's a shame. 3 strikes and you're out, Tesla. No proprietary data. Just ignore the millions of vehicles on roads collecting said proprietary data that no one else has access to. No distribution at scale. It's not like they're producing millions of vehicles per year now and already have millions of vehicles on roads and are growing faster than any other company. And obviously, Elon Musk has no idea about AI. And how do we know this? Well, if Tesla were leaning aggressively into AI from the top down, they might have done something insane like invest billions of dollars putting sensors on vehicles before they'd solved autonomy so that when they collected the data in the future, they could then update those vehicles, which would become self-driving with an over-the-air software update. Nothing to see here, folks. Move along.
So I'll talk about all three of those. First, proprietary data. We think the best companies best positioned to capture the AI opportunity start with a proprietary data set that allows them to train or fine-tune models specifically for their use case. But more importantly, the companies that we believe are best positioned have a data feedback loop, which means usage of their product generates insight that allows them to continually train the model and get better and better over time. And the more scale they get, the better the model performs and the harder they are to compete with.
Does anyone know any companies that have a huge lead in terms of proprietary data that's formed a feedback loop where the proprietary data that they have at scale that no one else has is being used to train their AI and make it even more capable? No, neither do I. That's a shame.
One analogy I like here with Tesla is a blue stop sign. So very few people know this, but there are a couple of places in Hawaii that actually have blue stop signs. And a human could probably intuit rolling up to the stop sign that it's a stop sign, right? Even though it's not red, it's shaped like a stop sign and it says stop on it. But an AI model that's powering a full self-driving vehicle might not know that. It might roll up and say, well, that's not a stop sign, it's blue, and continue rolling on through. But if the human intervenes and presses the brake, it basically labels that event as a mistake. And the system learns over a couple of instances that blue stop signs are also stop signs. And so then if this were a Tesla, every Tesla in the fleet would then realize that blue stop signs are also stop signs. And that's a data feedback loop that's very powerful and hard to compete with. So that's proprietary data.
That's weird. He kept mentioning Tesla having proprietary data, and Tesla having an advantage, and this being very important. I definitely don't see any connection here with Tesla and their fleet of millions of vehicles collecting proprietary data that no one else has access to.
Second is distribution. We think companies that already own workflows, right? Companies that are already deployed within an enterprise are able to distribute AI features and products more easily than those who are coming in net new as a challenger.
Well, once again, he's definitely not talking about Tesla and their ever-growing fleet of already millions of vehicles.
I'd like to just leverage off of something that both Frank and Will were talking about. Competition in hardware and who are some of the other players. They're somewhat surprising, actually. Sure, there are the AMDs of the world, and of course, Taiwan Semi is going to accommodate all of these players. But there are other companies, and Tesla is a good example. It has designed its own AI chip. So has Meta Platforms, so has Google. And Tesla pulled its NVIDIA chip out of its cars and put in its own, which is more of a special purpose AI chip as opposed to a more generalized AI chip. So that's on the hardware side.
Why do they keep talking about Tesla this entire video? I definitely don't understand. Can somebody explain to me in the comments below? Thank you.
And then on the software side, what's fascinating today is, to see hardware like NVIDIA get a multiple like 25 or 26 times revenues. That's not times earnings, that's times revenues. Whereas many of the software companies in which we have, or to which we have exposure, they are priced Twilio itself is 2 times revenues. And others, and that's an unusual one. That's quite an unusual one. Others, though, are in the single digits as a multiple of revenues. So it sort of flipped the world on its head. Most investors have gotten used to hardware being lower multiple and software being higher multiple. So it's a very interesting time.
Interesting is quite the understatement here. Cathie's got a very important point here. Generally speaking, in fact, I don't know if there's any exceptions ever, profit margins on software are generally exceptionally high versus hardware, because software is a little bit of code you can deploy instantly and for free, essentially. Whereas hardware, you physically need to make things and move atoms around and then move those atoms to consumers. It's pretty hard to compete on margins with software versus hardware. Doesn't matter the industry. This is important. Second, we hear that NVIDIA is currently being valued about 25 to 26 times revenue, not profit, revenue. Tesla, by contrast, is about 8 times revenue. NVIDIA makes hardware. Tesla makes hardware and, importantly, the software, the much more profitable software. If Tesla were being valued at 25 times its revenue, again, remember, NVIDIA makes hardware, lower margins. Tesla makes hardware, but also the software component is huge. In other words, it should have an even higher multiple. If Tesla were valued at 25 times revenue, just like NVIDIA, it'd be a $2+ trillion valuation as opposed to about half of $1 trillion at the moment. But there's definitely no opportunity here. Move along. And now, in completely unrelated matters that definitely have absolutely nothing to do with what we've just heard from Ark Invest. And if you think, hang on, Stephen, why are you talking in a weird way? Is that to convey sarcasm? Definitely not. Over to Twitter. Elon Musk and some dickhead with 3 first names have some thoughts. So here's a video from the once great city of San Francisco featuring a cruise vehicle that seems to be a little bit confused and is now blocking traffic on a road. What an absolute joke. Now, why am I showing this video? Well, stick around because in a few seconds, we're about to find out. There's a very, very key distinction between what Cruise and Waymo are doing, a very narrow, brittle version of a self-driving vehicle that needs guardrails and hand-holding, and Tesla's approach. Most people do not understand the distinction. It's very important. It will become evident, but right now, there's a huge disconnect between perception and reality. I had a few comments regarding this video. I tweeted this out this morning. Generalized autonomy, as in what Tesla is doing, and basically no other company, at least not outside of China, is 100 times harder than the brittle self-driving technology we see in the video I just showed you. Everything perfectly matches the HD pre-map. Great, I can do a party trick and drive you around. You might even think it's pretty impressive. Something doesn't match the HD pre-map? Help, daddy, I'm scared. What do I do? Come get me. As we saw in that embarrassing video of a cruise vehicle stuck, not even stuck in a lane, but stuck across lanes. Completely inept. Help, what do I do? Most people do not understand this important distinction, which is another reason why I'm still buying Tesla stock with every spare cent. Tesla's FSD will scale widely because it's intelligent, and Tesla has mostly solved vision, which is perception, planning, and action. Everyone else, examples Cruise and Waymo, has developed extremely narrow, very brittle technology that won't scale and has potato IQ and is a glorified party trick that requires guardrails and hand-holding every step of the way. Cruise and Waymo's technology is like training a bird to peck "Hello World" on a keyboard. It might look like the bird knows what it's doing and has a grasp on language, but as soon as you move the keys around on the keyboard, "Hello World" becomes, well, garbage, and the bird is exposed as a bird. Actually, in fairness, birds are much more intelligent than the supposed self-driving technology of Tesla's alleged competition when it comes to autonomy, especially the Corvidae. If you guys don't know, with ravens, crows, and the like. Seriously, by the way, there's some smart motherfuckers capable of using tools. Not even kidding. Anyway, you guys know what I mean. Don't say I didn't warn you. Don't say that this guy didn't warn you either. Elon Musk responding, yeah, extremely brittle to local conditions and doesn't scale. Again, I don't think at this point in time investors understand this. There's a few exceptions. I mean, if you guys have seen the videos between James Dowmer and Dave Lee, absolute goldmine. James and Dave get it. But when you have embarrassing autonomy leaderboards out there where Tesla is dead last, it's a pretty clear indication that either the companies publishing these supposed autonomous leaderboards are extremely corrupt or utterly incompetent. I don't know which is worse, and I don't know which is the truth. Maybe both. I've said this at least 420 quintillion times, but it bears repeating because it still remains true. Tesla has an unassailable lead when it comes to autonomy. People do not understand this. They will. By the time they understand this, the opportunity may no longer exist. I might just leave it there. By the way, this is a pretty great comment. What an NPC. So in conclusion, Ark Invest obviously don't know what they're talking about. Tesla don't have an unassailable lead when it comes to autonomy. And I would never be sarcastic in a video ever. In totally unrelated matters, does anyone know any companies that happen to have a huge lead, proprietary data, an easy way to deploy at massive scale in the future, and leadership that's really going all in on AI? Let me know in the comments below. I might buy a little bit of their stock. Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to athleticgreens.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point. It's something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1 is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, Snake Oil Salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to athleticgreens.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.